Welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Cabral.
Hi everyone, we are back with our second Cabral HouseCall of the weekend, where we answer our community's questions each and every weekend, Saturdays and Sundays, on all things wellness, weight loss, anti-aging, of course at this moment in time, viral-based issues, health coaching. So really excited to be able to bring these shows to you. As I said yesterday, I'm on a new microphone for the next couple weeks or so. It is not as good of quality as my previous microphone, but hopefully the shows are producing the content that you're looking for. We are about 8 weeks or so behind in terms of answering our community's questions. And as you know, I say, and always do say, that you can get same-day answers Monday through Friday at cabralsupportgroup.com. Feel free to join, completely free. It is our health coaching group right on Facebook. That URL takes you right to a Facebook group, and it's a service that we are happy to provide. And during this COVID-19 pandemic, I am also producing weekly videos. I post those weekly videos now on Instagram. My name is just Cabral there. On YouTube, same thing, my name. I post them inside of cabralsupportgroup.com. And the main viral page that is shareable, since that's a private group, you can send to friends and family. That's stephencabral.com/virus. That will give you all of the current naturopathic-based studies. It will give you functional medicine-based advice. It will give you even conventional medicine medications for those people in life-saving conditions. So please do check that out. It's a service that I'm trying to do my best to keep up on. I'm researching every single day. And again, hopefully that's been helpful. Now it is that time to dive right into your questions. So today is episode 1521. Again, you can go to stephencabral.com/podcast to always research previous podcast topics that I've done. And today you can go to stephencabral.com/1521. All right, excited to get into the questions. As always, I have no idea what they're going to be. No idea at all. I never look at the questions until they come out. And that for me keeps it a lot more fresh and essentially just allows me to not research the topic, but give you, based on my 20 years of work experience and well over now 250,000 client appointments, just what I've seen. All right, so let's get right into it. Hi, Dr. Cabral. I was wondering what your approach would be to try and shrink a benign tumor, and if you have any knowledge on how to regain damaged nerves because of it. Okay, so I would love you to go to stephencabral.com/podcast and type in proteolytic enzymes, or type in tumor, or even type in shrink tumor. So I'm going to keep pointing back to that page just because we're answering questions right now from the beginning of February, and I want to make sure that we answer as many of our questions from our community in a timely manner. So please do always go back and check out that webpage and type in your keyword, because we are 1,521 shows in. And I say that because that's now 4 years of content, and we've answered a lot of these questions. So I would just love you not to have to wait to the same degree. So again, you can just go there, you can type right in tumor, and you'll see a bunch of shows on the proteolytic enzymes that I recommend that are great, detoxes, more of a plant-based diet, all of those things. Again, I can't tell you what a treatment protocol would be. I can't give medical advice. That is not what this podcast is about. This is about educating people on what works, what has worked, and we're doing that from a health-based and underlying root cause-based perspective. Okay, thank you, Jane, for writing in. Ainara, A-I-N-A-R-A, Ainara, I believe. I'm 21, and I took the combined contraceptive pill for 6 years and came off 3 months ago. I still haven't had my period. My hormone test results are okay, but estrogen 150 and T4 11.5 are low. So I just want to let you know that different labs have different ranges. Like our T4 levels should be, essentially you want them up to a 4, okay? So it's very different for ours. I actually think that maybe even in yesterday's podcast, Maria, I remembered, she said it was 11.5. So that's different for our labs. I just want to state that. And so we use a saliva and blood-based test for hormone testing. Very, very accurate. We do it first thing in the morning. These are all done right at home. So what I can share with you is this, is that we need to know what your TSH levels are. And if they're below a 2, then your body's producing at least the amount of thyroid hormone it believes it should produce. And then we need to know your T3 levels to see if they're normal. So this is very important to look at. Your estrogen at 150, again, I mean, all labs are different. I could tell you estrogen of 20.5 is great based on labs that I've used. So unfortunately, I can't give you data based on this. It says your hormone's okay, your estrogen. Most likely, though, it's progesterone. And I've spoken about this many times on why women miss their period, even if they're not just coming off the pill. And it's because of estrogen dominance. Even if estrogen's on the lower side, progesterone is so low that they're actually not getting their menstrual-based cycle. I would love for you to run. I mean, you're the perfect candidate to run what's called the stress, mood, and metabolism test. It's actually the thyroid adrenal hormone test. And that's right at equilibriumnutrition.com. I mean, I couldn't recommend that enough. And you can also run this with your local functional medicine doctor. You don't have to run it with us. You could run it with an integrative health practitioner. Feel free, but that's the data that we need, or I would need, in order to be able to help you, to give you a real answer. So again, you can check out our stress, mood, metabolism test at equilibriumnutrition.com, and you can run that with anyone that you would like, okay? But that test does come with my review or a medical director's review and a call with our health coaching team that puts together a full personalized wellness plan for you. Alba is up next. As an Ayurvedic practitioner, you haven't spoken about different doshas. The aggravating foods, eating seasonally, what are your thoughts on this? I've tried, but find it restrictive. As an Ayurvedic practitioner, you haven't spoken about the different doshas, the aggravating foods, eating seasonally, etc. Well, I have actually, Alba. So I think people are just confused. Sometimes they step into my podcast at episode maybe like 1347 or whatever it might be. We've actually made it pretty easy for people. If you go to stevencabral.com/podcast now, I had my team create categories now. So there's a category on detoxification protocols, a category on digestion, a category on thyroid healing solutions, a category on stress solutions, and that includes the adrenals, a category of podcasts on rebalancing your hormones. That would be a good one for our friend Ainara that just wrote in. Let's see what else we have. We have nutrition and diet solutions, and we have sleep and insomnia category, and we also have an Ayurvedic answers category. So if you click at Ayurvedic answers, or why don't I make this even a little bit easier? You can go to stevencabral.com/topics/Ayurveda. Those are all of my Ayurvedic shows. My Ayurvedic shows really began more in depth on episode 900. And then once a week for how long? I did them for, I think, about 20 shows or so. All of those shows were there. So you can go to stevencabral.com/topic, no S, stevencabral.com/topic/Ayurveda, or simply go back to episode 900 and you'll be able to see every week, 900, 907, 914, that there'll be a show on Ayurveda. So that should help you out, Alba. Karim is up next, or Karim, Karim. I have really bad hay fever in summer and really want to fix this. Would the Dr. Cabral Detox be the answer? I work out regularly to gain muscle, and I'm scared that detox will make me lose weight. Any tips will be appreciated. Thanks. All right, Karim, certainly emptying your rain barrel is a huge part of that. If you have not read the rain barrel effect, please do that. It's a great first place to start. The rain barrel effect takes my 20 years of practice and more than 20 years of research and working with so many brilliant based clinicians over the years and studying all over the world, and I put that into one book. You'll realize that allergies or asthma or an autoimmune issue is typically not one answer. It's not one thing. So to rebalance the body, we absolutely do a 21-day detox. Now, if you're not looking to lose that much weight, well, you'll simply eat a little bit more of the foods in the list. And you'll just do the days 1 and 2 of the fast. You'll lose a little bit of weight, but you'll be able to gain that back. A lot of it could be inflammatory water weight. And then days 3 through 21, well, that's when you'll add back in more of the foods it says right on the list that you can eat if you're not looking to lose weight. Okay. And you don't have to do the fast the second week and third week if you don't want. Okay, what else do we recommend? Well, right off the bat, we can do, and you can also check out this show. So there's a show, let's get the number for you, episode 1517 I just did, the difference between virus, a cold, and allergy symptoms. And I talk about vitamin C, I talk about Hispro, which contains quercetin and nettles and ginger, how great those are for allergies. But what you really want to do is work on your gut, and you want to work on your hormones. One of those is cortisol. So I would love for you to run the big five, absolutely, because then you look at your omega-6 levels. Higher omega-6s can lead to more allergies. So I would run the big five lab tests, no doubt about it. But what if you can't run the big five lab tests? Okay, this is the order that I would do them in for you, my priority. First one is the Candida Metabolic and Vitamins Test, also called the Organic Acids Test. The second is the Thyroid Adrenal Hormone, also called the Stress, Mood, and Metabolism. Why would I do those two? Well, I want to look at your cortisol levels and I want to look at your gut function. That's why. That's what's most important to me. After that, the Metals and Minerals Test, so Minerals and Metals Test, that's our hair tissue mineral analysis. And then I would love you to run the omega-3 and then the food sensitivity test, okay? So that's the order that I would do them in, and that's going to give you more of the underlying root causes of what is filling up your rain barrel. Roya is up next. Roya is saying, I started the 21-day detox on February 8th, 2020, in hopes to restart my health and help pinpoint the cause of my hives, brain fog, and extreme fatigue. A background on my health, I went from not seeing a doctor to seeing doctors 2 to 3 times a month. 2016, diagnosed with Hashimoto's. I also found out I had hives. Hives were uncontrollable in the cold. I started to be put on shots in 2017. I started the shots. They instead made them worse. I stopped them after a few months. In the warm weather, I noticed I was breaking out in hives. This was brought to the attention of my doctors, who diagnosed me with cold urticaria. Now I have become a medical mystery for my doctors as to what is causing my hives. I've been tested for lupus, mast cell disease, and a few others. I'm on day 3 of the detox. Tired, cannot focus, groggy. My question is, do I continue this detox despite it causing me breakout in hives, wake up fatigue, etc.? Okay, well, I apologize, but we're answering your question 7 weeks after it was written in. On the StephenCabral.com/Ask Cabral page, it does say your question will not be seen for approximately 6 to 12 weeks. So I apologize. All of this can be written, though, at CabralSupportGroup.com. CabralSupportGroup.com is where to ask your questions when you need a much faster answer. Okay, so, here's the thing. The first 2 days of doing a liquid-based fast, we tell people to rest. It's going to be a little bit more challenging. There's no doubt about it. I mean, you are working on autophagy, so you're working on cleaning up the body. This needs to happen, no doubt about it. So for you, all of your doctors are doing exactly what medical doctors do, and they're looking to diagnose you with a disease. Well, the problem is you don't have a disease. You don't have a disease, it doesn't seem, right? No one's diagnosed you with it. You have Hashimoto's, I understand that. But really what most likely you're dealing with is a lot of what Karim was dealing with before you. Something has filled up your rain barrel. Just go to StephenCabral.com/podcast and type in toxicity quiz. It's a free quiz. It's included in the Rain Barrel Effect book, but of course I give the quiz to everybody free. I want all the information I have is free. I give everything, all the info away I have for free because I want people to have this information. But it's a lot, right? And I do want you to go back and I want you to listen to the previous podcast because this holds your answer. And what we need to do is we need to type in urticaria or hives at StephenCabral.com/podcast. And you'll find all the different reasons that it could be. A reaction to histamine-based foods, intestinal permeability, some type of inflammatory-based condition. So what we do is we run the big 5 lab tests and we figure out not a disease. We're not diagnosing disease. We figure out what's going on at an underlying root causal level to cause Hashimoto's, an autoimmune issue, to cause some type of hive-based induced issues, whether it's in the cold you got hives with shots, you got hives with the heat, you got hives in the cold, right? So what we're really looking at is, why is this person's system so sensitive? They have very little give one way or the other. Well, it typically correlates with someone that's dealing with an immune imbalance called a Th2 sensitivity or Th2 dominance. And this oftentimes happens from candida overgrowth or SIBO or some type of condition often caused by intestinal permeability or leaky gut. So if these things are new to you, again, podcasts on all of them right at StephenCabral.com/podcasts. And I do hope that this helps. All right, let's see what the next question is. It's from Leslie. Hello, Dr. Cabral. I had a question regarding painkiller alternatives for post-wisdom teeth extractions. Back in 2016, I had a severe allergic reaction to ibuprofen. And shortly after, I had a reaction to Tylenol. I've been holding back on getting my wisdom teeth extracted because I fear the pain that will come after. However, my lower wisdom teeth are impacted and I need to get them out sooner than later. I went back to your podcast on natural painkillers and I was wondering if you recommended one over the other. Side note, question, before 2016, I didn't have any allergies to food and medicines. However, during 2016, I was in my last year of college and was under a lot of stress. Also, didn't have a healthy sleeping schedule and diet. Shortly after my allergic reactions to ibuprofen, I did an allergy scratch test and almonds showed up, which was shocking because I remember eating almonds throughout my life without any reactions. Is it possible my reactions were caused by stress and poor diet? And is there a way to reverse them? Okay, so first, yes, stress can cause intestinal permeability, aka leaky gut. And that's been proven multiple times in scientific research. So that can absolutely be possible, and almonds could be a sensitivity. Almonds are not an abnormal sensitivity. I see them quite often in my practice. It's not very common, but we run a lot of food sensitivity tests. So anyone can run their food sensitivity test right at equilibriumnutrition.com. You can literally type in food sensitivity test. You don't have to ask your doctor. We can sign off on it and ship it right to your house. So, but again, all of these are optional. We're just trying to open source health, right? We want anybody to have access to any lab test that they would want. So your reaction to ibuprofen and acetaminophen being the Tylenol. Well, the good news is this, that most people can have their wisdom teeth taken out and not take pain medication. And you can use the natural painkillers that I did talk about on my podcast, episode 438. So natural painkillers would be stevencabral.com/438. And let's even see if I linked up to those products. I think I typically do. Yeah, it's right there. It's boswellia. It's going to be things like natural proteolytic enzymes. It's going to be things like turmeric. Turmeric can be a little bit, sometimes of a blood thinner, a little bit of the lowering of the blood sugar. So just make sure that you're able to use that one. But there's a lot of great products. There's no doubt about it. But you may not need any. Another thing that can work really well is clove. So you might be able to use a little bit of a clove, one that's recommended for internal use. You might be able to find a clove spray for the mouth, one that can help with sensitivities inside the mouth. That could be something that you use. We also find people getting relief from just doing a little bit of a salt water gargle. Of course, your practitioner, your biological dentist, make sure you are using a biological dentist for having your wisdom teeth removed. You'd want to get the clear from them. It might not be okay in the beginning while you have stitches in, etc. That is why you want to check with them. But in my opinion, you should be okay. You really should. And then there's other alternatives. I mean, I could go on and on about white willow bark. You could use arnica. Arnica is another great homeopathic-based one that you could use. You could use chamomile. Chamomile can be a great one. So these are all really helpful, and hopefully my podcast on that and just the additional recommendations are able to help as well. No matter what, I don't think the pain will last more than 48 to 72 hours, but I do understand, of course, we don't want people to suffer, and I get that, and I understand. All right, Kerry will be our next and last question of the day. Hello, Dr. Cabral. My question is related to a female child who is showing signs of precocious puberty at age 7. The child is very large in comparison to peers. She has parents who are both 6 foot, but the child is showing signs of being very tall when height is plotted on growth charts. She holds a little extra body weight, but would not be classified overweight. Her height and weight are in proportion. She has completed your parasite and CBO protocols, has an excellent diet, has celiac disease, and some anxiety. What would be the next step to slow the progress of puberty? Well, there's a couple things to look at here. I would definitely recommend females showing earlier signs of puberty. For sure, it can be brought on by ingesting foods that contain a lot of hormones. So, what do we recommend? Well, in that case, we recommend eliminating we recommend eliminating dairy completely, cow's milk dairy for sure, maybe a little bit of goats, maybe a little bit of sheep, but we definitely don't recommend cows-based dairy for sure. Before the age of 8 years old in girls is quite early. We're usually looking more towards 10 years old, 11 years old, but age ranges can change. It really can. And so if this child is eating a healthy diet, the lab tests look good, they're active, they're healthy, and they start to go through puberty a little bit earlier, I don't know of anything as a practitioner, and I don't see any reason why, besides the social aspect of it, that I would want to slow this down. If this is normal for this child, and I would look towards her mom and maybe her grandmother or sisters as well, the mother's sisters, her aunts, when did they go through puberty? Was it early as well? Was it 8 years old? And that's on the younger side. Again, 7, it's close to 8, right? But every year matters be under the age of 8 because it is quite early. So what I would say is this: healthy diet, exercise, not a lot of exposure to toxins, that matters a lot. Making sure that the child hasn't been exposed to any other things like heavy metals. So if you run the starter kit for this child, and that's what I would do, and I'm assuming they have because they did the CBO protocol, and everything shows up good, and the child's healthy, and they're happy. I know they have a little anxiety, so we want to work on that. But if they're good, I'm not going to do anything to slow it down. I'm going to allow them to be a happy, healthy child, and then I'm going to say to them, listen, you might be developing a little faster than your friends, but all your friends will be here. They'll be there in a year or 2 or so, and I know that's hard as a child, but this is your body, and this is you, and you are your own person. Like, that's the thing. We need to start teaching children that it's okay to be unique, and it's okay to be you. And we want to teach them strength of character and that their body is perfect just the way that it is, that it's not supposed to look like their friend's body or their sister's body or anything like that. So hopefully this was helpful, Carrie. I know it's not an easy topic, and I understand that. So that is my recommendation. Hopefully this has been helpful. Thank you so much for everyone tuning in today. I appreciate you. Thank you for the reviews, for the book on Amazon, The Rain Barrel Effect, on iTunes, all the podcast reviews. I read every single one, and I appreciate you. If you haven't left one and you're able to leave one, of course, that's just a huge benefit to the mission, which I'm trying to do, which is reach more people with this naturopathic and natural health-based information. Thank you so much. Take care. Have an amazing rest of the weekend, and I will speak with you tomorrow on our brand new Mindset and Motivation Monday. Did you know that the body really only becomes sick or imbalanced in only 2 ways? Over time, you become deficient in vital nutrients, and you also accumulate toxins internally and from the environment. As those nutrients diminish and you increase your total toxic load, your body then begins to show the first signs of dis-ease. It's actually quite predictable, and the good news is that if we know how you began to fill up that proverbial rain barrel, we also know how to empty it to begin the healing process. I was fortunate enough to learn this ancient healing process from my mentor after suffering from debilitating diseases for close to a decade. It was only when I began to implement these techniques did I finally overcome my illnesses and go on to live a life of energy and vitality that I now enjoy. I'd like to share with you now what I discovered after traveling all over the world and how to combine the best of ancient healing wisdom with state-of-the-art science. Allow me to teach you exactly how I've been able to help over 250,000 people to empty their rain barrel and begin to transform their body and lives into what they've always hoped they could be. To get your copy of the international bestseller, The Rain Barrel Effect, simply go to stevencabral.com/rainbarrel.